Well, good day. Welcome to day number 22 of 6 Minutes a Day, a journey to your higher self. My name is Justin. This is Strength, Yoga, and Freedom, the podcast or the YouTube channel. On this channel, on this podcast, we discover ways to enhance your life, maybe by re-examining some areas, maybe by rebuilding some areas that aren't serving you well, so that you are able to come into a higher sense of self, which ultimately will create more happiness in your life. Isn't that why we're all here? We want to be happier. So we are here this week in the second training of the week, but we are also in the second half of this entire 6 Minutes a Day training program. We are on day 22, and today we begin a two-part training on dealing with people at work. And the first part of this training, the first 15 days or so, was all about self-discovery. So review any of that information, especially if you're new and you haven't had a chance to, because you cannot deal with other people until you've dealt with yourself first, right? So let's start to talk about how to deal with people at work. Also, don't forget to join our email list so that you are the first person to know when more content will be coming out and when those free yoga classes are going to be coming out right on this YouTube channel towards the end of this month into the beginning of August, where you'll be able to practice yoga with me. And it doesn't matter if you've never done yoga before or if you have done it a long time ago. So let's begin our training for today, where we're talking about dealing with people at work, part 1. Now, reviewing any information from last week will be also important as you begin to recognize what passive-aggressive behavior is, what maybe dealing with someone who could have narcissistic tendencies is all about. Those are important when you're talking about work as well. So you may want to back up and watch those or listen to those and then come back to this one, or just refresh yourself. I want to talk to all of you who are in leadership first. So today we're going to talk about those of us who are in leadership positions, and tomorrow I want to talk to those of you who are not in a leadership position at work. You report to someone else. So there's no denying that leadership that it's important when you're in leadership to set expectations, because there are so many personalities involved in the company that you're working in. And this can be your own company that you may own. This may be a company that you're working for, that you're in a leadership position. It's important that you have clear expectations for those people who are working at your organization. So, as a leader, expectations should be set forth based on your vision, whatever that vision is for you or your business. Your brand reflects you. And so that means the people who are working for you reflect your brand, which reflects you. So a set of expectations should be placed, and they should be placed with all parties involved in your organization, and agreements to those policies and procedures and expectations should be agreed upon in the organization for everyone involved before everyone starts even working. It should be made very clear. That way, when they start working, you can start to notice if there's patterns of behavior that are misaligned with the vision you have created. You may ask, well, what if I'm not a business owner? It's not my own business, or it's not my company. You still have a vision. You still have a brand. If you have a team of people working under you, that's your brand. Your brand is within the overall brand of the business, but you still have a set of expectations for those you are managing, training, leading, coaching, whatever it is. It's still your brand. It's a reflection. They're a reflection of you. That's huge, all right? So what are some things that actually make an effective leader? Well, number one for me is empathy. Empathy is number one. As I just mentioned, when people come on board into your organization, they don't have any expectations just yet. You need to set the expectations. And after you've set the expectations and they begin working, empathy is key, because we are all humans, we all make mistakes. So if you notice mistakes going on, or you notice someone is maybe taking a little longer to learn something or complete certain things, you have to watch for the patterns, not just a one and done, watching for patterns. And having empathy as they're learning or growing is key and critical. Number 2, leading by example. I cannot tell you how many times I have seen leaders put rules or protocols or expectations into place, and then they do not follow the expectations themselves. If you're doing that, you are doing a disservice to yourself and your brand. Let me say that again. If you set expectations, here's an example. You tell people don't be on your cell phone when you're at work, and then you walk around on your cell phone all day, you're disrespecting your brand. Yes, I know it's your business. Yes, I know it's your company. You can do whatever you want. You are never gonna get an effective workforce if you're not following your own expectations, period. And so that's a big one for me. Number 3, communication. I say this all the time. We're not mind readers. You are never going to be able to expect your employees in your organization to do what you expect them to do without communicating with them. How are they going to know what to expect if you don't tell them what to expect? Number 4, effective leaders make difficult decisions. Why is it important for a leader to make a difficult decision? Because you have to respect your brand. Your brand and everyone who reflects your brand and who you are sometimes has to go through difficult transitions to ensure that the brand has integrity. So you may have to make difficult decisions. It could be a decision about where the business is located. It could be a decision about how big it is, how small it is, putting people into places where we collectively, you and your organization feel would be best for them and the organization. So you sometimes have to make difficult decisions, and sometimes comfort zone has to be taken away because it's going to allow growth. Another effective trait for a leader is influence and the ability to affect others. As a leader, your workforce should respect and enjoy your leadership because they understand that you're doing it for the to move towards a greater good, whatever your business is, whether you're manufacturing something, you're providing a service, you're in education, you're in sports, it doesn't matter. If your workforce knows that you have the ability to influence or affect the overall scheme of things and move the organization that direction, you will gain way more productive workforce members than if you're just doing everything all on your own and expecting everyone to just be soldiers that line up and just follow rules that are so stringent, and they get complacent and angry and wind up leaving. What do you not, though, want to tolerate from a workforce? What would you not tolerate from a workforce? Well, the biggest thing is toxicity. Refer back to last week's videos for examples of passive-aggressive behavior and all of the other and the narcissistic patterns of behavior you may see. Those are all behavior patterns. Those are videos 16 through 20 and training 16 through 20. Those of you listening on podcasts, you can refer to those so that you can pick up on some of those behaviors if you notice them happening in your workforce. And setting boundaries, which we just talked about in video 21. Setting boundaries in your workforce is so important. So what do you not want to tolerate within that toxicity? All those behaviors I just mentioned, plus crying. So crying is a big one. You are someone who enables crying from your employees. You're not allowing your business to move forward, because when someone is corrected over something and they begin to use crying as a weapon to get what they want, you are not respecting yourself anymore. So crying should not be tolerated. You have the right to tell someone who's crying, and it's a pattern, you have the right to say, it seems like you're upset. Let's come back to this and talk about it when you are feeling a little bit better. Crying at work is just, in my opinion, it doesn't solve any problems. Gossiping at work should never be tolerated in your organization. Ridicule, never be tolerated. Breaking any kind of property in your organization. Someone breaks your personal property and then you notice it's a pattern, that's a problem. Unethical practices, specifically with regards to race and gender, sexual orientation, all of that, none of that should ever be tolerated. Also, abuse of your product, if you're selling a product, if abuse of your clients, abuse of your customers, and abuse of finances. And I want to talk about this as a wrap up in abuse of finances. If you are paying someone in your organization a large sum of money, or really any sum of money, and that person is not contributing to your financial success because they're breaking things, because they are turning people away, because they're in their own personal agenda trying to hijack things in your organization, you are not staying true to your vision, and you are not staying true to your true and authentic self, because you're paying a person to spend time in your organization who is being financially disruptive and who is financially stealing from you by taking your financial resources and using them for their own agenda. So that is so important. Tomorrow, I want to talk to all of you who are not in leadership positions, and how do you handle the dynamics of relationships when you're dealing with people from at work, because it's not easy, as we know. So until tomorrow's training, today, when you find that smile, when you find that laugh, when you find the joy in the day, just take a moment, pause, enjoy it, congratulate yourself, because you deserve it. Thank you for being here. I'll see you on our next training.